Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another chapter of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaja's I Am That. And today we will be looking at chapter 57. And I think I may just kind of skip around in this chapter, but let's see how it goes. So, chapter 57, Beyond Mind, There Is No Suffering. I love this book so much. It makes me giddy. And I love the titles even. So, when I look at a title like this, I think, this is all we need to do, again, is contemplate this title. Beyond the mind, there is no suffering. Suffering happens in the mind. It happens in the mind. Pain is something different than suffering. Pain and pleasure is the experience of this world. Pain and pleasure, physical pain, maybe emotional pain. But suffering is resistance to pain, usually. Suffering is resistance to pain, resistance to life. A fighting with life, a pushing away. Okay, enough of me. You've come for Nisargadatta, not me. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I'm always curious. What's it like for a Yanni? How do they perceive reality? I see you sitting in your son's house, waiting for lunch to be served. And I wonder whether the content of your consciousness is similar to mine, or partly different, or totally different. Are you hungry and thirsty as I am, waiting rather impatiently for the meals to be served? Or are you in an altogether different state of mind? There is not much difference on the surface, but very much of it in depth. You know yourself only through the senses and the mind. You take yourself to be what they suggest. Having no direct knowledge of yourself, you have mere ideas, all mediocre, secondhand, by hearsay. Whatever you think you are, you take it to be true. The habit of imagining yourself perceivable and describable is very strong with you. I see as you see, hear as you hear, taste as you taste, eat as you eat. I also feel thirst and hunger and expect my food to be served on time. When starved or sick, my body and mind go weak. All this I perceive quite clearly, but somehow I am not in it. I feel myself as if floating over it, aloof and detached. Even not aloof and detached, there is aloofness and detachment, as there is thirst and hunger. There is also the awareness of it all and a sense of immense distance, as if the body and the mind and all that happens to them were somewhere far out on the horizon. I am like a cinema screen, clear and empty, clear and empty. The pictures pass over it and disappear, leaving it as clear and empty as before, untouched. In no way is the screen affected by the pictures, nor are the pictures affected by the screen. The screen intercepts and reflects the pictures. It does not shape them. It has nothing to do with the rolls of films. These are as they are, lumps of destiny, prarabdha, but not my destiny, the destinies of the people on the screen. So good. My wife, incidentally, is a Vedic astrologer. And so she's very much interested in the person, the characters, the people on the screen. And I say, wonderful. That's where her heart is. That's what resonates with her. And it's kind of funny, I guess, because I'm more interested in the screen. So we have really good conversations and we go back and forth. We see that both parts are parts of, let's say, the projection of a movie. So in order to see the images, you have to have a screen. There has to be something there for the images to be projected upon. So there is the clear and empty white screen, and there are the images being projected onto it. And my wife, she's very much interested in the destiny, the parabda of the characters in the movie. And I am too. I think it's interesting too. Of course, it's all interesting and entertaining, and that's why we are drawn to it. But ultimately, what really grasps my attention and resonates with me is the screen, the changeless screen, birthless, deathless, untouched. If there's a fire in the movie, the screen does not get burned. If there's a flood and lots of water, the screen does not drown. So the screen is the ultimate absolute, untouched, completely untouched. If you see it like this, you can really see they are really two different things. They're happening at the same place. But ultimately, whatever happens in the dream is unreal. All of this changing is false. It's unreal, ultimately. Relatively, we can talk about that which is changing. Of course, we don't deny that. You can deny it. But in most conversations, you wouldn't just walk around telling people, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. You're not a person, you're not a person. That's too extreme. You're not really understanding the fullness of both the screen and the movie and the dream. It's a wonderful dream. And sometimes it's a horrible dream. Okay. Not me, Nisargadatta. So let's continue here. You do not mean to say that the people in a picture have destinies. They belong to the story, but the story is not theirs. And what about you? Do you shape your life, or are you shaped by it? The character will become a person, but he begins to shape his life instead of accepting it as it comes and identifying himself with it. The question and the answer both appear on the screen. The lips move, the body speaks, and again, the screen is clear and empty. I don't know why I feel so much joy, but I do. So the screen is always clear and empty. And from Nisargadatta, he said, when I hear the question, I hear the answer. The two are one. They are both in the movie. They have to be. They're both part of this expression of consciousness, if you will. But he was so clear and aware of the fact that he wasn't even the body of Nisargadatta, nor the question in the words. These things were happening, and as he said, he was aloof and detached. There wasn't even a him that was aloof and detached. There was, of course, the absolute, just this pure consciousness, pure being, pure awareness that was just watching this movie like a dream, like a fog, perhaps. I don't know. Okay. When you say clear and empty, what do you mean? I mean free of all contents. Clear and empty. I have a white wall behind me, right? This is just like a movie screen, a white wall. There's nothing on that wall. It is clear and empty. If I had a movie projector here, we could, cast the pictures onto the wall. The wall would be untouched. Even when while the pictures are being projected onto the screen, it would still actually be untouched, unaffected by these pictures. It's always clear and empty. The Absolute Supreme is always empty. It's always empty. It's always untouched by the pictures. Yeah. To myself, I am neither perceivable nor conceivable. I'm nothing physical or mental. I'm not a body nor a concept. There is nothing I can point out and say, aha, this I am, right? You identify yourself with everything so easily. I find it impossible. The feeling I am not this or that, nor is anything mine, is so strong in me. that as soon as a thing or a thought appears, there comes at once the sense, this I am not. This I am not. You identify yourself with everything so easily. I'm this, I'm that, I'm a person, I'm, whatever it is, all of it, he says, it's not me. Nothing perceivable. And what can you perceive? You can perceive everything. I look around this room, I perceive so many things. Even he says the body is external in a sense. The awareness is prior, it's first. And so even the body is seen externally to the witness, let's say. Even thoughts are seen externally. Even emotions, which we feel are inside of us, he says, are external. Everything is external from this vantage point, right, of this witness. So thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, memories, fantasies, self-image, ego, me-go, the doer, the person, everything that is witnessed is perceivable. And he, the absolute, is not that. You are not that. This is a story about you. It's about you. You are nothing perceivable or conceivable. Now, this is actually the key thing. You are nothing conceivable. All of these concepts, all of this imagining that's happening by the mind. I am a person. I am this person. I am tall. I am short. I am old. I am young. I am this. I am that. No. Yes, relatively. In the movie, of course. I don't walk around saying, I'm not this body. I am nothing. It's here. We don't negate that the body is here. If you cut your finger, you don't just let it bleed, right? You attend to it. You love the body. You love everything. You love, you love, you love. Let's clean the cut, wrap the wound, give it a kiss, and it will heal, right? So you love the body. You love the mind. You love yourself. Nisargadatta says all of this starts with self-love. Atma prem, love of self, love of the relative self, and of course, love of the absolute self. That's natural and normal. It's just there. Self-love is just there. And when it's not, that's when it's very sad. And that's when suffering ensues. When you see people who have a difficulty loving themselves, and even the opposite happens, they judge themselves. They speak to themselves in such unkind ways. There's so much self-hatred. And then, of course, there's a lot of suffering that ensues because of that. Do you mean to say that you spend your time repeating? Sorry, I might sneeze here. Sorry about that. Do you mean to say that you spend your time repeating, this I am not, this I am not? Nisargadatta says, of course not. Of course not. I am merely verbalizing for your sake. He's just trying to help us to understand. By the grace of my guru, I have realized once and for good that I am neither object nor subject. And I do not need to remind myself all the time. He's had the ultimate realization, the fact that you're a human, let's say, I'm human. Do you have to walk around saying, I am human, I am human? No, it's so obvious. When awakening and liberation happens, it's self-evident. Self-evident. Even now, if I ask you, are you aware? Yes, you are aware. It is self-evident. It takes you half of a second to answer that question. Yes, I'm aware. Do you exist? Yes, you exist. It's self-evident. So when this realization happens, it's also just that simple and easy. It is so obvious and self-evident that you are nothing perceivable or conceivable. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not a person. There is no entity inside. There is no center. There's only pure being, the absolute supreme reality. Okay. Look, my thumb touches my forefinger. My thumb touches my forefinger. Both touch and are touched. When my attention is on the thumb is the feeler, and the forefinger, the self. Shift the focus of attention, and the relationship is reversed. I find that somehow by shifting the focus of attention, I become the very thing I look at and experience the kind of consciousness it has. I become the inner witness of the thing. I call this capacity of entering other focal points of consciousness love. You may give it any name you like. Love says, I am everything. Wisdom says, I am nothing. Between the two, my life flows. Since at any point of time and space, I can be both the subject and the object of experience, I express it by saying that I am both and neither and beyond both. Shift the focus of attention. I find that somehow by shifting the focus of attention, I wanted to show this again, the thumb and the forefinger. They look like two things, but aha, they are part of the same one hand. So I imagine Nisargadatta and the questioner. They look like two, but look, they are two expressions of the same one body, the same one thing. So Nisargadatta, as the absolute supreme, he can, let's say, be aware of this hand and then be aware of this hand. It looks like two, but that's the illusion. It's not two. It's two expressions, but two expressions of the same one thing. So Nisargadatta was able to do that because he was the absolute. He knew that he was the oneness, let's say. I find that somehow by just shifting the focus of attention, I become the very thing I look at and experience the kind of consciousness it has. I become the inner witness of the thing. I become the inner witness of the thing. I call this capacity of entering other focal points of consciousness love. Love. You may give it any name you like. Love says, I am everything. I am everything and everyone. Wisdom says, I am nothing. I am no thing, perceivable or conceivable. Between the two, my life flows. I am everything. I am nothing. I am everything. I am nothing. Since at any point of time and space, I can be both the subject and the object of experience, I express it by saying that I am both and neither and beyond both. I am both and neither and beyond both. I am everything. I am nothing. I am love. I am wisdom. I love it. This gentleman or woman, I don't know who it is, doesn't matter, says, you make all these extraordinary statements about yourself. What makes you say those things? What do you mean by saying that you are beyond space and time? And Nisargadatta says, you ask and the answer comes. Ask and you shall receive. I watch myself. I watch myself. I watch the answer appear and arise, and I see no contradiction. It is so clear to me that I am telling you the truth. It is all very simple. 2 plus 2 is 4. It is all very simple. It's so clear to me that I am telling you the truth. Only you must trust me, that I mean what I say, that I am quite serious. As I told you already, my guru showed me my true nature and the true nature of the world. Having realized that I am one with and yet beyond the world, I became free from all desire and fear, free from all desires and fears. If you are everything, then what more could you desire? I'm everything, but I still want this. Oh, but I'm already that. Okay, well, I still want this, but I'm already that. If you are everything, if you feel that, if you actually have the experience of oneness, then you feel complete. And isn't that what we all are searching for? That's why we are seeking enlightenment. We want to feel that wholeness, that completeness, that oneness. And if you are everything, then there is no other. And if there is no other, there is no fear. You can only fear something else, but you are that something else. There is no something else. There's just you. Everywhere you look, I am everything. I am everyone. I am every experience, and I am nothing. Again, if you are the screen, no matter what happens in the movie, it doesn't affect you. Fires and earthquakes and storms and tragedies and suffering. Guess what? You are none of that. Ultimately, I understand we have that experience of these things, but ultimately, you have never been this changing consciousness. You've always been the white wall, the white screen, untouched, untouched. I did not reason out that I should be free. I found myself free. I found myself free. Like, oh, like I found myself wearing a green shirt or something like that. I found myself free. Unexpectedly, without the least effort. He didn't expect it. There was no effort. He just found himself that way. Oh, I am everything. I am nothing. I am beyond all concepts, of course. This freedom from desire and fear, it has remained with me since then. Freedom from desire and fear. Another thing I noticed was that I do not need to make an effort. The deed follows the thought without delay and friction. As soon as the thought arises, the deed happens. There's no delay, there's no conflict, there's no friction, there's no inner struggle. It is ease, grace, and flow. Ease, grace, and flow. Ease, grace, and flow. I have also found that thoughts become self-fulfilling. Things would fall in place smoothly and rightly. The main change was in my mind. It became motionless and silent. No more monkey mind. It became silent and still. Silent and still. Responding quickly, though, not dead in that sense. It became a tool instead of a master. Silent and still, responding quickly, but not perpetuating the response. Spontaneity became a way of life. The real became natural, and the natural became real. And above all, infinite affection, love, dark and quiet, radiating in all directions, embracing all, making all making all interesting and beautiful, significant and auspicious. Lovely, lovely, lovely. The main change was in my mind. It became motionless and silent, silent and still, responding quickly, but not perpetuating the response. Spontaneity became my natural way of life, spontaneous. I hear the question, the answer comes. The real became natural. The absolute reality became the natural, and the natural became real. And above all, infinite affection, affectionate awareness, love, dark and quiet, radiating in all directions, 360 degrees. That's a nice stretch. Embracing all, making everything interesting, beautiful, significant, and auspicious. The kingdom of heaven. It is here. It is now. It is always. The Parabrahman. This is the Parabrahman. This is the absolute supreme reality. Man's fivefold body has potential powers beyond our wildest dreams. You see, there's so much more about us, so much more potential. This is why, dare I say, without sounding judgmental, that it's such a waste when people are just, I don't know, not interested in this, just sitting on their phone or, I don't know, drinking and things I used to do. There's so much potential powers beyond our wildest dreams. Life could be so much more efficient and pleasant, so much less suffering. If we all came together, 7 billion people, if we came together with our intelligence and our creativity, unlocking the potential within us, and just began to love all and serve all and help ever and hurt never. Not only is the entire universe reflected in man, but also the power to control the universe is waiting to be used by him. The wise man is not anxious to use such powers, except when the situation calls for them. He finds the abilities and skills of the human personality quite adequate for the business of daily living. Some of the powers can be developed by specialized training, but the man who flaunts such powers is still in bondage. Look at me, look at what I can do. The wise man counts nothing as his own. When at some time and place some miracle is attributed to some person, he will not establish any causal link between events and people, nor will he allow any conclusions to be drawn. All happened as it happened because it had to happen. All happened as it happened because it had to happen. Everything happens as it does because the universe is as it is. I'm reminded of a story about Ramana Maharshi, a very short story, actually. I was told by Stephen Levine, I believe it was, Stephen and Andrea Levine, that Ramana Maharshi, it was said that he was like this peaceful river. Most of the time he was just silent. He was just sitting there in his beauty and his silence. And people would just come and sit in front of him. He wouldn't say anything necessarily. The point is that just by sitting in front of Ramana Maharshi, it was as if him being this river of peace would just sort of take away all of your suffering, all of your ego, all of the limitations. Like the river would just take them away without any effort, just by his beingness. He was so established, of course, in the Parabrahma. So just by sitting there, people were healed emotionally, I think physically, spiritually, we could say. So many illusions and concepts dropped away. The truth was dawning and awakening in all of these people. And so somebody, if I remember this story correctly, this was like 20 years ago I heard this, but basically somebody was healed, I believe physically. And they said to Ramana Maharshi, "You healed me, you healed me." And Ramana Maharshi like looked around and he said, what? No, no, no. I didn't heal anybody. I didn't heal anybody. And he wasn't being coy, as Stephen said. He wasn't, like fake humility, like, no, I'm not the healer. It's, he literally, there was, of course, no I there, I'm imagining. But it was complete, this beautiful innocence, right? This is the innocence that's so beautiful. We have it as a child, as a baby, as a young child. We have that innocence. The self hasn't been created yet. There's no ego. There's no doer taking credit. And after the realization, when it's really thorough, there's no ego, there's no doer, there's just this pure innocence. Ramana Maharshi wasn't playing games. He really was like, no, I didn't do anything. I didn't heal. And what he did say after he was speaking with his translator, he said, oh, okay, I see. No, I don't heal. The healing comes through me. The healing comes through me. And this to me is real wisdom and ultimate humility. Because all of us, okay, if we feel like we're being a little egotistical or arrogant, we know how to subdue the arrogance, the ego, okay, I shouldn't take credit. And, we have this internal sort of process happening. But for somebody like Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta, somebody who's truly liberated, truly empty of self, then this humility is just the state of their beingness. It's not fake. It's not contrived. There's no effort. It's pure love, pure love. And this is the love that inspires me. My mom has a lot of this pure love. And this is the love that inspires me. To empty ourselves of ego and pride and arrogance, to get back to that essential childlike, not childish, but childlike quality of awe and wonder. Everything is a mystery. We don't know anything. We're simply responding to the moment spontaneously, like Nisargadatta said, hearing the question and the answer arising, responding to each moment with this openness and humility and love. And when we empty ourselves, then God fills us up. We have all heard probably of the cup that is full of water. If it's full of water, then God can't put anything inside of it. So we have to empty our cup of ego and self. But don't judge that water. There's nothing wrong with that water. That water is also the absolute supreme. But we're just saying, oh, okay, this cup is full. I'm going to empty it now. Nothing wrong, no judgment, only love. Now, if I empty this water, naturally what happens after the water leaves, nature fills that cup with space. It just happens naturally. There's no effort, you see. There's no effort. When you empty yourself, nature, God, whatever you want to call it, it fills you back up with itself. And there's no effort. So the wise man counts nothing as his own. He is empty. He knows that he is not the doer. There is no he. There is no doer. There is no self. God is the doer. Everything, God is the totality of consciousness. This is all Leela, divine Leela, the play of the divine. And just like Ramana Maharshi, he says, no, I do nothing. There is no I, even. I simply am. I am. And God, the Supreme, does all the healing. It does all the work. If you do God's work, God will do your work, in a sense, right? If we surrender to God, He will move mountains. He will move mountains. Okay, almost done here. The universe does not seem a happy place to live in. Why is there so much suffering? And this is how I started off this chapter, by saying that pain is physical, but suffering is mental. Pain is physical. We cut our finger, or, we're in an accident or something. And that pain is physical. We feel the sensations of pain. Actually, pain, if you just investigate pain, you will see it's just sensations. It hurts. It hurts as heck, but just sensations appearing. Oh, yes, that hurts. But the suffering is mental. The suffering is the resistance of that pain, the pushing and the pulling and the fighting with life. Beyond the mind, there is no suffering. Suffering exists only in the mind. And so if this abstract conceptual mind has died or stopped, then there is no suffering. Pain is merely a signal that the body is in danger and requires attention. Ouch! It needs attention. It needs love. Similarly, suffering warns us that the structure of memories and habits, which we call the person, vyakti, is threatened by loss or change. Pain is essential for the survival of the body, but none compels you to suffer. Nobody is asking you to suffer. Suffering is unnecessary. It really is unnecessary. Suffering is due entirely to clinging or resisting. Clinging, holding on, I don't want this moment to change, or resisting, I don't want the next moment, or I don't want this, I don't want that. It is a sign of our unwillingness to move on, to flow with life. So there you go. There it is. Flow with life. Flow with life. Stop holding on to the past. Stop jumping into the future. Don't worry, this so-called future, it will arrive in due time. Be here now. Be here now. 100% of your beingness, all of your awareness. Not in some kind of, oh, I'm here now, forced way. In a very relaxed way. I am. I exist. I am aware. Aliveness is present. Intelligence is present. Creativity is present. Love and compassion and joy are present. I am. So flow with life. Go with the flow. Do not cling or resist. As a sane life is free of pain, so is a saintly life free from suffering. Free from suffering. I think I will stop there. As a sane life is free of pain, so is a saintly life free from suffering. Pain is physical. Pain and pleasure happen. In this dualistic universe, you can't have one without the other. Pain and pleasure, pain and pleasure. So have equanimity. Have equanimity. See them out here. Pain, pleasure, desires, fears. This is just the dualistic experience in this movie, in this dream. So pain is physical, but suffering is mental. Beyond the mind, there is no suffering. Beyond the mind, there is no suffering. Suffering is due entirely to clinging or resisting. So search, try to find those areas within you where you are clinging to something or resisting. Don't be unwilling to move on, to flow with life. Go with the flow. Really, whatever happens in the movie, in the dream, ultimately, again, it has no effect on this beautiful white wall, beautiful white screen. So this is why more and more we need to lessen our grip. Nothing to control, nothing to fix, nothing to do. And if there is, then okay, life will do it. But mostly just relax, relax. Life will move you, don't worry. Things that need to get done will get done. For instance, I have to leave and go teach English. And I have to go catch a bus. So life is going to move me away from this video, which I have enjoyed so much. And it's going to have me do something else. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you, Nisargadatta Maharaj. And God bless. Peace, peace, peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Wisdom says, I am nothing. Love says, I am everything. I am both, I am neither, and I am beyond. I am both, I am neither, and I am beyond. Love says, I am everything and everyone. I am everything and everyone. And wisdom says, I am nothing. I am nothing perceivable or conceivable, but that which makes all perception possible. Thank you, Nisargadatta. Thank you, Absolute Supreme. Peace and love, peace and love. Blessings to everyone. See you again for another chapter of I Am That. Namaste.